We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
Dreads hang on designer everything.
$1,000 a month. What more do you want from me? Oh my! I'm at 30.
Important. She says she believed that Diddy had something to do with the murder of Tupac Shakur and said as much. Allegedly, Diddy warned her that she would pay for saying something like that. So let's just fast forward now to a month later, where she says this guy Shane invited her to come to his apartment. Defendant Shane offered her a glass of water, which he retrieved and brought back to the plaintiff. A few minutes later, Ashley Parnham says that P. Diddy showed up with an entourage, including his top aide, Christina Coram, an unnamed woman who is not a defendant in the suit, and 3 unnamed men, one of whom she says was Diddy's driver. Parham says that Diddy was antagonistic from the start and that he put a knife to her face. Defendant Shane then partially undressed plaintiff, and then defendant Diddy removed the remainder of plaintiff's clothing, removing the knife from her face. Defendant Diddy, while violently raping plaintiff, told plaintiff that her life was in his hands and that if he wanted, he could, quote, take her, and she would never be seen again. Defendant Diddy then made further threats that he had, quote, gotten off from bigger crimes than this, and referred to Tupac again, further antagonizing the plaintiff. Defendant Doe number 1 then turned to defendant Diddy and pulled his gun on him, asking Diddy to repeat what he'd said in reference to Tupac.
My parents, incredible parents, 3 other brothers, and just a loving, happy family. My dad was the head of psychiatry for Kaiser Permanente, and my mother was just a housewife and raising children, and just remarkable period of my life.
Now, I've always assumed that you were born in Israel because you have a slight accent when you speak. Have you heard this before?
Yeah, so my parents weren't immigrants because they weren't staying here.
Okay.
So my biological father was coming here just for his education. And my mother worked for the Israeli government. Mm-hmm. And so when I was born, I went straight back to Israel.
Oh, so you stayed there for a while.
I spent my first 3 years in Petach Tikva.
Okay, and after you graduated, you went to go work for the Bank of Leumi?
Yeah, Bank of Leumi is the National Bank of Israel.
Uh-huh.
My mother got me the job, and it was just when the Shah fell in Iran, and all of the Jewish Persians came straight to Beverly Hills. So we were counting money there.
A lot of money.
And you know, I was supposed to be a financial analyst, but I ended up counting money, and I think I was making $14,000 a year. I was miserable. It was a horrible existence. But my mother got me the job. I have a college degree, and so I thought that was the responsible thing for me to do.
Now let's circle back to Prince and Diddy. Besides Diddy doing business with Warner and Lyre Cohen, the same people Prince tried to warn everyone about, there's another theory floating around about the reason Prince wanted nothing to do with Diddy. So according to some insiders, after Prince learned what Diddy was doing at those freak-offs, he started staging his famous 3121 parties as a response. Prince's 3121 parties were invite-only events where artists could escape the toxic side of the industry and share ideas for their art without label executives meddling. And some believe that these events were Prince's way of offering artists an alternative to those depraved industry parties over at Diddy's house. Prince also kept his distance from Diddy, and there's only one known photo of them together. And this was when they happened to be seated next to each other at the 2007 NBA All-Star Game. Aside from this, Prince kept to himself and stayed far away from Diddy's circle. However, he didn't stay quiet. Allegedly, Prince was constantly warning other artists to avoid those industry parties and encouraging them to stand up to their labels. And this is exactly why so many fans believe his death wasn't an accident. And it's not just the fans. Rumors are going around that Cat Williams will soon sit for another explosive interview a year after his explosive Club Shay appearance, and he allegedly plans to show receipts proving that Prince was taken out by the industry higher-ups. Those same higher-ups who allegedly enabled Diddy in all his depraved crimes. And while these reports haven't been confirmed, people are already excited about what Cat might reveal reveal about Prince. As for Prince's feelings about Jay-Z and Diddy, fans are saying this is yet another proof that Prince was ahead of the curve, and he tried to warn us about all this stuff that we're now reading about in the headlines. Not only that, but some fans are also pointing out that Prince died just months after that whole situation with Tidal. And the caption on his last post was, "Just when you thought you were safe." But what's your take on Prince and all these theories linking his death to Jay-Z, Diddy, and the industry higher-ups? Do you think Prince was really deleted for trying to make a positive change in the industry? Drop your comments below, and don't miss out on this next video.
What's happened in the last few minutes is that we've had this communication from the Israeli military saying that in a separate attack, 3 what they refer to as terrorists were killed, and they're looking into the fact that one of them may have been the Hamas leader in Gaza, Yahya Sinwar. Now, he will have been the most prized target for the Israelis over the last few months. Yahya Sinwar was seen as the architect of the atrocities on October the 7th last year, which kicked off this whole war that has lasted more than a year. Of course, 1,200 people killed on that day on October the 7th. And in the resulting war in Gaza, more than 42,000 people have been killed, according to local reports from the Hamas-run health ministry.
As you take a live look here over Gaza, that is right outside one of the hospitals there. Again, I do want to get to some breaking news that we are following out of the Middle East right now. The Israel Defense Forces and Shin Bet have released a joint statement saying that they are checking into the possibility that they may have killed Yahya Sinwar, the head of Hamas, during operations that were just completed in the Gaza Strip really moments ago. The IDF says it eliminated 3 terrorists during that operation, but they say the identities of those terrorists cannot yet be confirmed. The Israeli military says in the building where the terrorists were eliminated, there were no signs of hostages, and the forces that are operating in the area are continuing to operate with required caution.